So, today I'm going to talk about how to overcome anxiety related to your health. And I know this can be especially challenging if you have had an experience already in this lifetime of maybe a scary diagnosis. And so, I want to say right off the bat that, of course, most of us know by now that the medical industry does not know very much about health because they first of all think that the body is hardware separate from the mind, separate from the software. So that very foundational mistake is going to limit their access to solutions. However, when we achieve what I'm going to explain, which is the inner union of the male and the female about our relationship with our bodies, we will attract doctors that are inspired. We will and more doctors will become inspired because everything is a hologram of what we have going on inside of us. So, and by the way, and there are many doctors that do know about consciousness, and I'm very pleased to see at like Dr. Joe Dispenza events, like most of his team is MDs, and lots of the participants and the people that go to those events are doctors. So the world is changing in such a beautiful way. But I wanted to talk about, though, right, anxiety. A lot of people have anxiety related to their bodies. So I wanted to I want to show you in the context of the male and the female what it looks like when we have anxiety towards our body. So this is the male and this is the female. So in this story, the male is the mind and the female is the body. So the body is actually a hologram of the mind, but if we don't catch what we're doing on the mental level, right, it's going to speak to us through the body. And thank goodness, right? Instead of treating the body like an enemy or a symptom like the enemy, we want to turn towards the body, listen to the body, have a tender curiosity about the body, loving attention about the body towards the body. Because if we have a symptom, right, whether it's a migraine or an ulcer or an ache or a pain or even a cancer or a tumor, if we have the attitude that we need to be scared of it, we need to run away from it, we need to, right, what we're doing is we're treating the body like a means to an end. Like we're treating it like it's a handicap. If it's speaking to us, we're treating it as if it's a problem. So that's kind of a narcissistic, right? We wonder why we attract narcissists into our lives. If we treat our own bodies like, like if a kid was saying, ow, like this hurts, like this is going on in my life, you were to attack it, treat it as a handicap, like that's an abusive relationship, right? That's an abusive relationship, and that's what it looks like. And I have compassion because I think we're kind of trying to move out of an era of what people call the patriarchy, which there is some truth to that, although I don't like that word. But for me, the patriarchy means the treatment of the feminine as a handicap, as something that slows us down, when that is a very abusive relationship. So when you get anxious, if you have a symptom, whether it's a cyst, whether it's a swollen gland, right, instead of getting afraid of it, right, if I get afraid of my body, that's like the male running away. And the male, that you can only progress your energy, you can only heal, you can only ascend, you can only elevate yourself when these energies are turned towards each other. So if I'm scared of my body, are we turned towards each other? No. If I'm attacking my body like a handicap, are we working together? No. If I resist, right? If I resist in some way, what's going on in my body? Are they working together as a happy couple? No. And by the way, the reason why the body gets louder and louder and louder is because the male energy is not working, turning towards her. So if we simply thought of it like a couple that needs to be happy, needs to be listen to each other, needs to communicate, in order for us to solve whatever problem we're in, whether it's like dealing with a relationship differently, forgiving someone, letting something go, letting go of expectations. Like sometimes just holding on to an expectation too hard can give you an ulcer, right? So, but if we turn towards the body, right? So in the moment that you have a symptom, actually, if you think of this image turning towards the body, I feel a literal warmth in my heart. Like instead of fear, instead of flighting or fighting, there's a warmth. And it's like, oh, okay, like just because you're not comfortable and happy doesn't mean I have to run away from you. I'm going to turn towards you. And when the male and the female turn towards each other and are working together, now I have access to the solution. It's right there. Oh, I have to let go of this. I have to stop judging my parents because I have to breathe more deeply. I have to let my body rest. My body's too tight right now. It's causing all kinds of weird aches and pains. And on that note, I need to let go of the thought that motivates me to never rest. And in the present moment, you are being shown, you are given that thought. You do not have to do, I don't like the ideology that you have to do some special technique. You don't have to do a special technique to have access to your subconscious mind. It's always speaking to you right now. The trick is, can you get still enough to listen? That's it. Because if I were to stop avoiding, if I were to stop being an escape artist and numbing and avoiding and attacking and all of that, and I simply went deeply within myself, God would tell me the solution. Because ask and it is given. Actually, the solution is given before you even ask. The solution has always been there. It's just that we can't hear it because the male keeps us lost in the mind. If they're not working together, the males over here were lost in our mind, the females over here distracting us in sensation, keeping us stuck in emotions. We can't hear the divine, right? So wholeness is the answer to everything, but we want to think about the body and the mind as a couple. And by and large, like, why are there not many happy couples in the world? Right? At least that's what I hear from people that have like a million friends and that are like circling and relating and like meeting so many people, because I don't have thousands of people in my life. So I have to admit that my data set, I don't want to rely on that to make a larger conclusion. But I've heard a lot of people say that even people that are exposed to a lot of people, that they haven't met a lot of happy couples. Well, it's right here, sweetie. It's because the happy couple has to become within us. So what happens in regards to health is like, when I'm no longer afraid of my body, I am no longer split inside. You could do a special technique and have God delete this program and download this, whatever, right? But the thing is, if you haven't realized that you have to work with yourself in your human life, not just when you get into a meditative state, not just when you do a technique, but in your life, right? You haven't gotten the full message. Because if we have inner union and inner harmony, we don't need techniques to heal. And I'm grateful for the techniques, and they are useful. And people that get very stuck in feelings or in thoughts, like, or maybe they're so disconnected from the emotions that the only safe way to access them is by doing a technique. I totally respect that. But I just want to energize this fact that like solutions are always in the present moment. We just have to listen. So what happens with your health is, I turn towards my body. I'm no longer afraid of it. Now it will explain to me. You might get an image, you might get instructions on like what you need to tweak and adjust in your life. You will be given the solution. Just try it. Don't take my word for it. So fear towards the body is very destructive, and it causes a psychological split within us. Fear towards our emotional body causes a psychological split within us. You could control your brain waves, and you could even control your mind. And again, this is people that can like meditate for hours or control themselves in certain contexts, but then, right, we can only be a full functioning, healthy human being if we pay attention to the female, to the unfelt feelings, right, to the messages of the female. So if we think of the body as a messenger and we listen, and we don't get afraid, but we deeply listen, we'll feel compassion, right? Which is what the body has, what our soul has been waiting for our whole lives. People even use like meditation techniques and all these other techniques just to like fix the body, to like make it perform for them. But part of the lesson is just listen. Just listen, because if you think of the body as something that you need to fix, I guarantee you that's how you're going to show up in your relationships. I guarantee you that's going to be how you show up with your children. Right? Oh, let me just like get into like a meditative state and like fix this in the ethers, and then maybe my kid will like stop being annoying. No. Like, listen to your child. Listen to your child. Maybe you're being asked to open your heart in a deeper way, to become a better listener, right? Our life is our initiation. Our life is our mystery school, right? We don't need to do anything special because God already wants to give us everything. And every single day and every single thing that triggers us in every single day is an opportunity for us to be in the present moment and listen to the Creator and how the Creator wants us to show up, the virtues and qualities it wants us to develop, the way it wants us to be and radiate differently in our reality. So long story short, if you have anxiety about your health, I understand. I've been there. But like, let's say even worst case scenario, you had a test done and there's like a result you don't like. First of all, of course, if you accept something, like this is a huge, and this is my mastery on the mind level, like you don't have to accept anything that anybody says about you or your health. You don't have to accept a diagnosis, in fact, but I would accept it as a message that I have to tweak something, right? I would accept it as like, okay, like if you're really hypothyroid, ask your soul, like, and by the way, I don't subscribe to the idea that, okay, thyroid issues equals I can't speak up, this equals this. No, I don't. It varies from person to person. That's what I've seen unequivocally. That's what I've seen scientifically. You have to ask. A lot of times there's entanglements. If you have thyroid issues, you probably have kidney issues, adrenal issues, which means you probably don't let yourself rest, which means you probably don't accept yourself, which means you probably don't accept specific things about yourself, your sensitivity, your path in life, right? You see, I'm not doing any technique right now. I'm just zeroing in with undivided attention, and I'm given the deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper message. So you don't have to accept a diagnosis, but I would always, as a student, right, if you felt the need to get a test done, your soul probably wanted your attention for some reason. And that's not to say that if a doctor tells me I have a disease and I'm going to believe that. Hell no. Doctors believe that the body is separate from the mind. I mean, most of them, not all of them. But if I believe the body's hardware, which, by the way, if you ever go out of body and you see a body, or even, see a cadaver. When I was going to go to medical school and I dissected a cadaver, and it literally looks like clay. It looks like clay. You're not the clay. The clay is your car. The clay is your vehicle. The clay is your vehicle, a holographic vehicle that we must respect and revere, because it is a very sophisticated technology that allows us to interact with this time-space reality. But if a doctor doesn't even know about consciousness, like, how are you going to accept what they tell you? So you don't have to accept and internalize a diagnosis. But like, if your body is not, if you have no vitamin A in your body, right, ask your soul, why What? Am I not seeing something clearly? Am I holding on to heat in my liver, right? Because the liver makes vitamin A. What am I not letting go? Am I holding on to anger because it still connects me to someone that I'm afraid to let go of? You see, if you just sincerely ask, what is this about? The answer will almost like simultaneously come out of your mouth as simultaneously as you ask the question. So you basically, when you turn towards yourself internally, you receive everything. You receive everything. And so I hope this illuminated, right? I think thinking of the male and the female is so helpful, because you'll realize every time you abandon your body, every time you're afraid of it, he is abandoning her. He is afraid of her. A part of me is afraid of a part of me, and therefore I'm split, and therefore I have no solutions. And when you achieve the inner union, when you trust and when you listen, like, you will attract people that will help you if you need help from the external world, right? And to heal, like, the fear of doctors, again, it's like, remember, almost all of them mean well. Really, that's my strong feeling. People that become healers, that go to school for decades, like, they mean well. So we can only receive through an external vessel what we are ready for. So if we trust the process, if we're listening to our body, and if we do need help from the external world, we will attract doctors or even new aspects of the soul of the doctor that we already have that will assist us and support us. So the body is not your enemy. If you treat it that way, if you treat your emotional body or your physical body as your enemy, you are split. You are split. And anything you do while you're split, you look for solutions without realizing that the answer is to turn towards yourself, right? You're just prolonging a lesson that you're going to have to learn eventually, which is, I need to listen. I need to listen. A fractured soul cannot fulfill its purpose. I am fractured if I do not listen to myself, right? So again, there is a warmth and a tenderness. The antidote to worry and anxiety is warmth and tenderness and attention. Attention, 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 not attack and not avoidance. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope you have a beautiful day.